Hi, my cool friends, and welcome to the channel of Haunted History. I am your spooky host, Manda. With this saying, you can take the girl out of the paranormal, but not the paranormal out of the girl. And I bring haunted hotspots right to your location. And with this location, we're going far, like over the ocean far, to Japan. Now, before I get started, I do need to make a disclaimer that this video does talk about violence and suicide. So if that's not your forte, please skip this video and I will hope to see you on the next haunted tour. So let's start the spooky stories. Welcome to Himeji Castle. Himeji was built on top of a hill as a fort in 1333. And then the fort was then dismantled and rebuilt as Hamiyama Castle in 1346. Then remodeled into Himeji Castle 2 centuries later. Himeji Castle was then remodeled again in 1851 by Toyotomi Hideyoshi, who added a 3-story castle keep. Wow, that's hard to say. I'm sorry, guys. That's a lot of makeovers to one building, and we get judged for just a little Botox. I personally never had any, but you know what I mean. In the 1600s, Tokugawa Ieyasu awarded the castle to Ikeda Teramasa for his help in the Battle of Sekigahara, and Ikeda completely rebuilt the castle from 1601 to 1609, expanding it to a large castle complex. Several more buildings were added later in 1617 to 1618, and is now the castle we know and love today. Even though I haven't visited yet, I love this castle. And the reason why Himeji is one of my favorites is due to this tidbit of information I know. The castle is known as the White Egret or the White Heron because the exterior is supposed to resemble a bird taking flight. Now, I love birds, so there's a little personal information about me. Himeji Castle has remained intact throughout the bombings of World War II, also surviving the 1995 earthquake. Himeji is the largest and most visited castle in Japan. Not the largest in the world, just to clarify, but the largest in Japan. Now, this castle has 11 corridors, 16 turrets, 15 gates, and 32 earthen walls. There's also a small enclosed room called the Warrior Hiding Place, where defenders would hide themselves and attack by surprise. Pretty cool, I'd say. Roughly 1,000 loopholes exist in the castle building and remain there today. Another piece of interesting information, well, at least I think so, is that Himeji includes 3 moats. There's an outer moat, but that one is now buried. There's a central moat and an inner moat, and there's also a pond inside this castle. And the purpose for all of this was to store water if there was ever a fire. So now that I gave some insights to some of this beautiful castle, it's now time for my specialty, the ghost who looked the halls of Himeji Castle. And her name was Okyu, who was a servant girl for a samurai. One of her many jobs was to look after 10 golden plates that were very special. Heirlooms, I suppose? And the story goes on to tell that the samurai was starting to get feelings for Okyu, but because she always rejected his romantic gestures, the samurai stole one of these treasure plates and accused Okyu of breaking it, and for that would be a death penalty. But the samurai would forgive this if Okyu would become his mistress. She declined his offer yet again, and he was so furious he threw Okyu into a well where she died. As the story goes, her spirit returns each night, wandering the gates of the castle, and returns to the room of the golden plates, continuing to count them, and still only counting till 9. She then breaks into a horrible wail, being heard for miles around. You can still see the well today at Himeji Castle, but I wouldn't stay up after dark unless you dare, like I would. This story was also inspiration for the movie The Ring, which came out in 2002. And there's many legends that surround this castle, and this one is so very sad. So viewer discretion is advised for talk to suicide. His name was Sakura Genembe, and he was a master carpenter in the construction of Himeji Castle. Now, as his story goes, Sakura was dissatisfied with the construction. According to some records, they say he was feeling that he built some of the buildings too far to the southeast, and he became very distraught. He climbed to the top of the keep and jumped to his death with a chisel in his mouth. Now, I'm a lover for true crime, so what if this could have been a scenario? What if the guy who was paying him to build these keeps wasn't happy with Sakura's work, and he pushed him off the roof, and he paid people to report that he committed suicide instead? This is how my mind works, and I'm not apologizing, because this was just a what if. But I also do know artists, and I know how they can be with their craft. So the story of him causing his own demise is very likely. Hell, Monet would slash his painting over flaws. It's also very sad, but these are just two of the haunted stories that lurk around the beautiful Himeji Castle. But all beauty must have some darkness. For it didn't have some cracks the light couldn't get in. Now some cool facts. Himeji Castle was featured in the 1967 James Bond movie You Only Live Twice. The castle also appeared in the 1980s TV miniseries Shogun and the 1985 movie called Run. Then, in 2023, Legos came out with a Himeji Castle replica you can have in your very own home. A smaller version, of course. Just some sweets after the sours. Thank you everyone for listening to my haunted tales. I hope you enjoy them as much as I love making them. I really love and appreciate every one of you, including Pat Lou, for editing these videos. Please like, share, and subscribe for more haunted historical tales. I will be vanishing. Till next time, have a beautiful and frightful night.